Let's move to our next session, Unleashing Your Inner Child to Build a Humane Wordplay, if you must, Culture, by Dr. Avinash Jhangiani, author of Play to Transform, a leadership coach, a design thinking expert, but above all, a facilitator of play for innovation and well-being in the workplace. So discover how embracing your inner child can spark creativity, empathy, and resilience and transform your organization's culture. Let's welcome him, please, with a round of applause. He has some props, and it's going to be a fun session. Thank you. Here.
Okay. So anybody curious about what these animals are? Yes. So you're human. Please give yourselves a round of applause. All right. I think in the age of artificial intelligence, we have to give human intelligence a little bit of credit, right? In terms of curiosity. Anyways, you guys at the back are able to hear me? All good? Yes? No? Maybe? Yes. Okay. So welcome to a half an hour session where it's going to be extremely interactive, experiential. And the only thing I wanted to share with you was, please treat these four walls as a safe, creative, non-judgmental environment. Anything that happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, as they say, right? So please feel free to express yourselves in whichever way you want. We'll start with the oral way of communicating, and then we'll move to doodling. We'll play a little bit with our hands, and then we'll have some fun. Is that sounding like a plan? Yes? Okay, great. So let's begin. I can literally hear my own voice, which is why I'm like, okay. All right, so let's do a quick human check. How many of you are able to see this at the back? No one? Okay. So on a scale of cat, how are we feeling today in terms of emotions? On a scale of cat. So 1 to 9. So anything that comes to your mind, transform that into a letter about how you're feeling. Yeah, a number. 1? 5? Okay. So obviously no right or wrong answers. It's about how you're feeling. So only 2 people feeling anything right now? Otherwise what? Everybody is a robot? 6, 7, 8. Another back? We don't have any bots in the room, right? You know, chat GPTs who have no feelings, emotions. All right. So the reason I do this every time to open it up is because I want us to look within a little bit to really understand that we are human and we have emotions, for crying out loud. And thanks to the pandemic, I think we've got a good reality check how important our mental, emotional well-being is. All right. So if you're still wondering and curious, what am I doing here? This is supposed to be a mobile digital session. I have a reminder for you. So how many of us over here believe are more creative than analytical? So creative than analytical. So if you're human, you're obviously both. But in your opinion, do you believe you're more creative than analytical? Raise your hands with pride, guys. Come on. A little bit. Okay? And how many of you believe you're more analytical than creative? Clearly, we have some bots and chat GPTs in the room who don't really know who they are, and which is fine. And the reason I do this is because just to understand how I'm going to be communicating to you, right, in terms of your creativity and analytical levels, in your own eyes, right? Because I don't know. It's your opinion. How many of you have actually used a floppy drive at work? In the past? You just let loose your generation and welcome to Gen X. Yes, round of applause for you guys and for myself also. Nobody ever cheers us up just because we are in leadership positions, right? We have to do everything to our own head and back and I don't know what not. And how many of you have used it in school? School. Okay. Ah, okay. So a lot of Gen Z is clearly about, say, 50% or 60%. The reason I show you this is because I have a 15-year-old now. He was 4 when we moved from the US back in 2012. I keep saying recently. And you know, every time you shift houses is when you really remove all the junk from your trunk, right? And I discovered these lovely floppies. And he was like, but Papa, what is this device? And it's been a decade, and I still can't help him understand what do you do with a 128 KB device where you have to insert it in some drive, which I don't have. So I've still not been able to help him understand how, because he believes everything is there in the cloud. And I keep saying, no, beta, it's not there. It's somewhere in the data center down, right? So he believes I'm an early human, right? And I can't blame him because a lot of the work I've done in my past, you know, only to give you a quick context, I started off as a typical software engineer, a UX designer back in Satyam, which I don't know how many of you even know, at least at the back, which is not existing anymore. Used to hide behind the screen, shy, introvert. And then, you know, I moved to the US through them. And then I got my MBA, joined Deloitte, and I started realizing that as I started writing code or developing apps and leading teams, one entire stream of being human while we are doing a lot of this transformation, you know, interestingly in those days, I'm talking 15 years back, it was called IT transformation. And now, interestingly, it's called digital transformation. 2 years ago, it was blockchain and NFT. And all of a sudden, it's Gen AI. And we are like, you know, if you're a brand or you are an organization, I felt like we need to really help you accelerate with the change we are seeing in, you know, in the world today. So we started this thing called Play to Transform. Obviously, after I worked with Omnicom Media Group. So I did IT, digital, and then advertising. And then I realized enough of all of this. I think I have to move to the humanizing aspect of digital and tech. And we started this thing called Play to Transform, which is why I'm here. So this session, everyone, is from my inner child to yours. And the question I have for you is, in this race of searching and designing the perfect algorithm, are we losing our inner child and that inner rhythm along the way, right? So I have a lot of reflective questions, right? You may or may not have the answer, which is fine. But the idea is to really reflect and see how we can accelerate change with AI, keeping humanity and that humanizing element along the way. So in order to really appreciate the future, I think we need to take a quick look at the past. Nothing tech. How many of you have actually played in the mud, in the rains, enjoyed while we were kids? How many of us have played this? Anyone has any idea what this game is? Yeah, hopscotch, yes. Yeah, okay. And how about this? Yeah. So it's playing with marbles, yes, very nice. And how about this? It's Lagori in the north, and in the south it's called what? Is it called? Okay. Okay, it's called, I don't know, I'm just asking. You can, in Gujarati, all right. How did we feel when we played these games? And I can see immediate smiles on your faces, which obviously says that you felt something, right? So help me understand, what did you feel when you played these kind of games or sports? Any emotions that came to your mind? Free, okay. Anything else? Light? Alive, okay. Outdoor, okay. Anything else?
Just easy.
Easy, okay.
Unresponsible.
You said
Irresponsible.
okay, so irresponsible, okay. So I'm not here to, I mean, as I said, we are a safe, non-judgmental environment. ये तो पिट्टू है ना. So the thing is that I have nothing very intelligent in my entire half an hour in terms of how we think of intelligence, which is IQ. I am here to untap your creative intelligence and emotional intelligence, and which is why I'm here, right? So we know this, but how do we feel? Why does our mind say this is play, but work is the total opposite of that? So work and play are in two different directions, right? Typically, any idea why do we see these two things in two different directions? Quickly. So if I say work as opposed to play, you said free, irresponsible, happy. So work would be what? Formal, okay? Seriousness? Professional, yes? We have a boss. I hope we don't have a boss in the room, of your own. Otherwise, obviously, you won't. Sorry? Okay, responsible? Accountable? Okay? Disable? Discipline? Yeah, I felt disabled for at least a decade before I started my own. Calculated? Okay? Okay? So these are things you felt. But do you know why our mind keeps reminding us that work and play in two different directions, right? So if you want to play, you go to a playground, there's a different environment. If you want to go to work, you have to be professional, you have to put your guard up, even have a suit of this kind up, and you have to be serious, like in the office, right? Why don't we ever see these two in the same direction? Any thoughts, any quick kind of, before I share my kind of research with you?
I think work is more methodical. You have certain
Okay.
processes or say levels of authority to follow.
Levels of authority and the process and everything. And all of that jazz is what I heard you not say. Okay. Okay, exactly. So I'm going to give you a step back and help you understand why do we see this and why do we need this in the same direction. So we all know that the evolution of technology is an extension of ourselves, right? The digital age, the stone age is the extension of our body, right? So I created the hammer in order to extend my arm. I couldn't do enough, so you fast forward to the age we are in today. We've done enough of our physical health. We are now going to the mind, right? Our digital devices are an extension of ourselves in ways that even we don't imagine, right? In places that we don't imagine. Any guesses what happened in the middle of these two ages? Any idea what happened between the Stone Age and Digital Age? Okay? The Industrial Age. Now the reason I picked the Industrial Age is because of the tragedy of the printing press. Now the reason I use printing press is because this is a media conference. I would have otherwise chosen something else. What is the tragedy of the printing press? The tragedy of the printing press is, here's what it did. It separated the mind from the body. Before the industrial age, we used to experience the world with our head, heart, and hand. What happened after the printing press, we were told to believe in the written word. That became literacy. The whole education system is based on somebody else's lived experiences. The word. Is this making sense? And literacy became the primary mode of learning and earning. That's what the industrial age brought to us. Interestingly, okay? And that is basically the root cause of the great disconnect I call between work and play. Right? That all that stuff you just described as you saw those images of you playing, right? Joy, freedom, curiosity, expression, and I'll say that again, expression, we totally lack in the industrial age. Why? Because we have been engineered to work hard, earn hard, save hard. Everything is hard. It's all by order, right? Process, serious. It's all about our survival. And more often than not, we don't realize that we've shut down our emotional selves. We are pretty much thinking rational. ROI, business case, business plan ke bina, nothing will happen in this world, right? We are so focused on that we forget our true selves. What we forget is that we were all born curious. We were all born creativity. And interestingly, the World Economic and all these jobs reports show that curiosity is a key skill. I'm like, we were born curious. So what are you going to teach me which I don't already know? Creativity, agility, resilience. Being in India, I don't have to speak about being agile and resilient. We are born in the mud. What are you going to teach us what we don't already know, right? So that's the great disconnect. Now, why, am I saying that we need to bring? So I have to present some research as well, right? So why bring play into our lives? Any idea what this looks like? Quickly. Anything that comes to your mind. This is not the reason why we have a population of 1.4 billion. I just wanted to be clear. And which could also be because if you're not thinking that, then, we've already beaten China. I don't know which other country we are going to beat. So any idea what this looks like? Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, very creative there. Okay. So it's actually a young sea squirt. I know it doesn't help entirely, but in terms of the anatomy, it has the same anatomy of a human being when it's born. So it's got a brain, it plays, it will find its nutrients on the way in the water, all of that, and it looks like this. Do you know what this is? Sorry? A sponge, okay. Any other guesses at the back? It's okay, good attempt. If you want to say something, it's on your lips, please express. There's no judgment here. And you'll not find this in any textbook, which is why I love using this. This is in Google though. So don't try and look up Google. But it is the same sea squirt that's become an adult. Any idea what is missing between the young? I know that it's not a biology class, but any idea what's missing in the adult sea squirt? So my slides are lovely because I always have answers up. If you're only seeing it, you will say what the answer is. It's the brain. Do you know what happened to the brain when it became an adult? Any idea what happened to the brain? Any guesses? It got washed off, okay, close. It got eaten up, and who ate it up? Sorry? Himself. So who said that? Please raise a round of applause for him, please, and raise your hand, please. Okay, nicely done. I hope you have not attended one of my, read my book or something. Well, I do hope. But it's the only animal that eats up its own brain because it has no use for it after it becomes an adult. Remember I told you, when it was young, it had the same anatomy of a human being. So here's the new quote. It's by Stephen King. I don't know if you have seen any of his zombie movies, but here's the new quote for all work and no play, right? Brain makes sea squirt a brain-eating zombie. Use it. So why now? We'll do a fast forward into the year 2029. So I remember we've been saying singularity, artificial intelligence is greater than human intelligence in the past 6 years. Interestingly, the future has become present now. It's moving faster, AI is moving faster than 2029. We are so afraid of this that we don't know what's going to happen, right? So what's the future present? We know this. We are already in an age today where we are extending, communicating, connecting ourselves with all kinds of acronyms which we call technology. Yeah, yesterday it was blockchain. I know you know all except BC. BC is my famous invention. It's not what you're thinking, but it is blockchain. So we all are actually familiar with this. But the question is, so what? Because tomorrow you're going to be pushed into another, I don't know, new technology, right? So how do we really deal with this, right? The other thing is the CXOs challenge, right? What we are seeing is that there is a need right now for a harmonious co-creation or connection between human and technology, right? And if you look at the jobs report, as I said, you have creative thinking, curiosity, resilience, systems thinking, AI and big data, obviously. But any leader's primary kind of challenge today is, I have to do multiple big initiatives which didn't even exist 3, 4 years ago. Yeah, digital is there, it's always been there, but now it's ESG, whatever is the full form of that, right? I know, but a lot of you will not even know the full form of a lot of these words, thinking you know. We think ESG sustainability. It's beyond sustainability. DEI is just not diversity, equity. A lot of people saying, have women in the room, and we have diversity. I'm like, no, we don't have diversity by just having diversity, women in the room, because it's just one way of looking at diversity. So there is a clear lack of understanding of a lot of these things we need today in order to synchronously bring humans and technology together. But here's the take, right? AI will not replace humans. You will have to play with AI to be able to cope up and thrive in uncertainty, right? So let's see the new norm for marketing. I specially created this slide from scratch for you guys because I believe, so I've been an IT guy throughout my life, right? In the initial half of my career. So typical IT, data, big data, we used to run after numbers, but honestly, we never found any use of data after 6 months. It used to become useless, right? Behaviors change, data, but that obsession of data. And today, big data is all around us. And the interesting thing is we have so much data, but we don't have intelligence. Data, yes, we say is the new oil, but what are we going to do with the oil? We need the engine. The engine is your artificial intelligence. It's your algos and everything I think you also discussed. And I think the challenge for us is we have to make a mindset shift from thinking logically and rationally to bringing creative and media together. Because in the first place, humans want experiences. And experience is not a media outcome. It's a logical and a rational. A rational and a emotional outcome, right? Which is a creative and a media outcome. And it's time, finally, I would say, after I don't know how many years, right? 50 years plus that, we don't have a choice. We have to think about that harmonious connection. Pure technology is not going to help us, but bringing us together. So if you ask me, we all today, irrespective of your job description, we need to wear 3 hats. We have to enable technology. We don't have to know the tech, but we have to creatively apply tech to be able to drive outcomes, right? It could be innovation, improving revenues, reducing costs, etc. Cross-functional collaboration. You cannot work in silos anymore. Impossible. There is no way that you can. But the last one is what I want to spend a minute on. Out of these 3, tech, business, and culture, which one do you believe is the hardest to change and adapt to? It's culture. But how much investment, time, energies, even thought we put into culture? Technology is moving faster than we could have ever imagined, or even thought, or even felt like, right? So culture is important. Why is culture important? Culture is important because as you said, it's eating up our growth. It's eating up our ability to execute at speed, our agility, right? And I really believe that we don't necessarily need to upgrade our infrastructure. We need to first upgrade our own human software, which is the mindset, right? We all afraid, a lot of us, I do a lot of these talks everywhere else, across industries, and they tell me, but sir, we have a fear of AI, it will replace their jobs. I help them understand, why do you have a fear of AI? You have fear of AI because you have got disconnected with yourself. You see work and play as 2 different kind of, ends of the extreme of the spectrum, right? And as AI is rising, AI has been rising, just by the way, since the past 25 years. I find this a joke. AI has always been there, right? But the reason why we are seeing AI now directly threatening us, because it has a human-like interface. And the more we resist AI, the more we find that we are not able to adapt to this. All right? So a little bit more, a minute of Gyan, and then we will do a little bit of an exercise. How much time do I have? It's about 10 minutes. Okay, it's saying 1 minute, so I was like, okay. So here are a quick, to bring everything together in terms of the context. We have to move away from that industrial age kind of a mindset to a creative digital age mindset, right? And what is that mindset, especially in the age of AI? The first thing is empathy. We are obsessed with empathy. Open LinkedIn, you will find empathy hashtagged I don't know where. So I'll do a quick experiment. Is that fine? We all have 3 fingers. Unless we have, you're Hrithik Roshan and you have 6, and even better. But if you have 3, make an E for me by placing it on your forehead. Make an E for me by placing it on your forehead. So if you do, if you can just humor me with that a little bit. And do me a favor. Yeah, it's a nice Instagrammable LinkedIn wala picture. And just look around you. Has everyone made E in the same way? I can see a few people doing some Bharatnatyam like this and doing. Utna creativity bhi nahi chahiye. Just a simple E for me. Okay. Thank you very much. Which one is right? Is this right or is this right? It depends on? Exactly. So if I'm talking about empathy and I'm talking about complex problem solving, who should you be putting yourself in the shoes of? Of me, because I gave you the problem. So it should look like this, right? And it's a very simple experiment. You might say it's even silly, even silly. But we think we know what empathy is because we had a mother who told us, now you know how I feel? I did. That is theek hai. You should always know how your mom feels. But when you apply it in the workplace, there has to be compassion. Compassion is a higher energy of empathy. Empathy is you're bringing the same level of energy with that person. Compassion is saying, I feel you, I understand you, and I'm willing to act with you, but on your permission. Not intrusively, but on your permission, right? 2, quickly, it's quite obvious. You can't work in silos, you have to co-create. Now, a year back, I used to say co-create with humans, and now I have to say co-create with AI as well, right? You don't have a choice. 3rd point, moving from scalable efficiency to sustainable creativity. If AI is going to do all the automation and all the rubbish tasks, you're going to do what? You have to sustain your creative self. So a lot of you who didn't raise your hand saying, I'm probably more analytical, you might want to rethink about this. Because that's the only differentiator if you ask me. Everything is linked to that. Your curiosity, your resilience. And I don't really define creativity as creating something new. New to ho jayega. The question is, is it going to take to become creative? It's going to take you to let your guard down. You have to be more curious. You have to deal with uncertainty. Enjoy uncertainty. Only then you can think creatively. And I love the last one, because after moving to India, I got a jolt. I was like, it was all about process, standard, join, control. And thankfully now, a decade later, we understand, and even the Westerners are now looking up to us saying, where can I find unstructured information? Welcome to India, where we know how to deal with chaos. We have to stop looking at the West. We have to look in our own DNA. We are born with this, guys. We are born in the mud. The way we innovate, nobody in the world can. Right? No wonder the top global CEOs of the world are Indians today. This is not rocket science. This is in our DNA. And what do we know how to do? We know how to embrace chaos because we know there is light at the end of the tunnel, right? And I simply call this shift from working seriously to play seriously. What is play seriously and how does it work? Quickly, and we'll do an activity. You'll have to give me 5 minutes more. So the question is, how do we bring play seriously into our lives, right? So every time we think of work and play, it's it's usually in the opposite direction. I'm here to introduce you to a concept called serious play, and you can apply it as a mindset especially in a crisis, dealing with wicked problems, etc., right? How do you hack into your company culture? Because at the end of the day, we have to keep a job and we have to navigate in uncertainty, the bureaucracy, the hierarchy, and dot, 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 right? How do we hack into this and still get what we want? The answer is in serious play, right? And the underlying mediators, according to a lot of research, right? The first person who started this concept was back in 1929. He's a Dutch historian. His name is Johan Huizinga. He's the guy who's been credited with defining the word play. Since almost 100 years now, you could say, play has evolved. So much that we can create an oxymoron out of play. Like, I am feeling two opposite emotions at the same time. I'm feeling pain, but I'm also feeling pleasure. Right? As an example, we are going to receive a lot of awards at night. You will see tears of joy. Serious play. Right? I'm feeling two things at the same time. I can give you a lot of examples, all that is in my book. But the idea is, what does this give us? It gives us that autonomy, that flexibility that the younger generation is asking for. Right? And that flow, that focus, that psychological safety, that means I'm going to do my best. Don't judge me at the workplace. Give me a space to express myself, to make mistakes. Let's fail fast and forward. Right? In a very serious sense, I do a lot of workshops with leaders, shift their mindsets, even design thinking workshops with a lot of organizations as well as the Indian School of Business. And I use this process, design thinking plus systems thinking, right? But here's what I've seen. A lot of organizations who are attempting to bring human-centric design are struggling. And they are struggling because mindset shift is hard. So I have a silver bullet. And I've done a lot of research. I've done like 7, 8 years of my work in this after quitting my cushy job to really help you understand. We have to rediscover our inner child. That inner child that has been hiding untapped all this while. We have to bring that out. That fearless nature. That ability to question and challenge the status quo. That's within you. And using the process of design thinking through exploratory play, through creative play and constructive play, we use our head, heart, and hand to really push ourselves. So for leaders specifically, leaders across generation, even if you are leading one team member or an entire business, you have 6 strategic capabilities that I'm here to introduce you quickly, right? And you've heard of this, but you know, every time I open up LinkedIn, I find like a list of stuff leaders need to do to survive. You don't need to do all. Just do 6 things. Learn to have a synchronous connection between the head, the heart, and the hand. Because industrial age was all about the head, literally. Logic, rational, ROI, business case. If it's about the heart and the hand, that means you will start using emotions and you will story show instead of story through your ROIs. That is just a part. The reason why clients buy into your campaign or your product or your service is not because of the numbers alone. It's because of you. It's because of who you are as a person, as a leader, what do you represent, your values, your behaviors. That's what, whether they know it or not, that's what they buy into. So quickly, the first thing is, let's start just dropping our guard. Enough of that wearing a suit and tie and being professional, right? All that was great for the industrial age. Today, it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to ask for help. Asking help is bravery. Vulnerability is not a weakness. Vulnerability is making you approachable and saying that it's okay, I am human. Please come to me. And which is how you open up doors for compassion. And then co-creation, right? In terms of future thinking, creative thinking, disruptive thinking, and then working together with teams, that group dynamics, and that agility. All these are fancy words we keep hearing. But what does that really mean? We struggle with that. Because the story in our heads, we are saying with these terms are all different. Nobody ever told us this in school. Even in MBA, executive MBATs, nobody ever told us to use our heart. We always told numbers. Ultimately, all boardrooms, as you said, right, have 80% people who are number driven. It's time we change that game and bring in people who are, I don't want to say who have a heart, but who have head, heart, and hand. We need both, right? Because the world that we are walking in today requires you to bring your inner child out. That is the universal language of transformation innovation. So quick exercise I'm going to do is going to take max about 5-6 minutes, but I have a quick fill in the blank to just warm you up. What is the activity you think APJ Abdul Kalam, our former president, Roosevelt, Eisenhower, JF Kennedy did in crisis situations where they really had to tap into that inner child and bring out that creativity? Thanks for paying attention. Yeah, so we are going to do that, but through the process, now you might say, oh my God, this guy is going to ask me to draw and I suck at drawing. Like, no, I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to show it to anyone else. I'm going to show you that through the process, and we have a process. Interestingly, you don't have to teach a kid, a 4-year-old how to draw, but you need to teach adults how to draw. You know why? Because of everything I just discussed. You have a guard on. You're afraid of what others will think of you. So here's what we are going to do. I'm going to request you to hibernate your minds, because your conditioned mind is not going to be of any use when we walk into uncertainty. In fact, experts are the biggest problem makers when there's a problem. Experts are the biggest problem. They make the problem even worse because all that best practices they have, all the gyan they've got in the world, and then when you go into a crisis with a project plan, with all that certification, you struggle. So here's what we'll do. I'm going to request you again, creative, safe, non-judgmental environment. Hibernate your minds. Try and not think with your minds. Think with your hands. I know you're thinking I have it wrong. No, I don't. Think with your hands and listen with your eyes. All right? So here's what we are going to do. So are you ready, guys, to do a quick activity? Yes? Fired up or not so much, maybe? Yeah, okay. So I'll fire you up in a bit. All right, great. So here's what you're going to do. We are going to do a blind superhero portrait activity. All right? It's quite simple, and here are the steps. The first step is, be ready with a paper and pen in front of you. It can be a pencil also, and that's perfectly fine. If anybody doesn't have one, please let me know. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to, on your own, think of your own superpower, which is really a human-centric leadership capability you believe we need in the age of uncertainty, AI, and all this stuff that's happening around us, right? Just think about it in your mind. Is that fine? Okay? Not because you are going to share it with somebody, but you're being honest to yourself, right? Honestly, which is the one kind of superpower that you believe you have that you can bring to the workplace, right? So it could be, I don't know, teamwork. Please don't say leadership. That is, I don't know what that even means. I mean, honestly, a little bit deeper down, right? Let's say empathy, or maybe co-creation, or agility, or any of the human-centric kind of. Please don't say I know how to code. Okay, that is not a capability, if you ask me, because AI is already doing it. All right, so anything you believe is unique about yourself, let's bring that out. All right. Is that fine? If you want to write it, it's fine. We don't need essays, just 1 or 2 words for your thought. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to pick a partner next to you. So quickly pick a partner. Yeah, in order to pick, you will have to have a chat and say, can you be my partner? And yeah, you're looking at me as if I'm going to assign you. I mean, it's not a MBA class I'm running, right? Just make it happen. Okay, so pick a partner and just identify. Share your superhero and its purpose with your partner. If you can do that quickly. If you can share your superhero which you thought, your superpower, and why do you think you need it with your partner? Quickly, if you can just have a quick chat, a 1-minute chat. And it's not going to happen over a mobile device or some RFID chip or some, it's not going to happen. You have to be human here. You have to pick somebody and say, sit in front of me, let's have a chat about your superpower. Yeah, and now you're making me a little, right? So go for it, I'm giving you 1 minute. Come on, quickly. Just pick a human. No, no, wait. You please don't start. Just discuss your superpower right now. And why do you think it's a superpower, and why is it required in this age? Is that fine? Have a chat with the person next to you. It's okay. Everybody is human, right? Over here, you invited all humans or some bots to fill in, no? Okay. So, anybody done sharing? Any pairs done sharing your superpowers? Just raise your hands if you are done sharing superpower. Okay. Only one? Only one pair. Okay, so we have a few more. Quickly, guys, because I'm getting the stairs now, I have to leave. Okay, so here's what you will need to do. Guys, this is kind of a semi workshop atmosphere so that you understand. See, if you don't do it, you will not realize the benefit of, of how your behaviors and your feelings and your actions are acting up, right? So a total stranger you're talking to and you discuss your superpower. And at the back also, guys at the back, right? Now here's what you need to do. You have to. Now I need all your attention, please, just for a second. And don't cheat over here, right? Because I know I said inner child and all, but we don't have to behave like kids. You should choose when to think like a kid. You have to draw a portrait of your partner without looking at the paper in front of you, while keeping the superpower in mind of that partner. So you're drawing a face of the portrait of that partner without looking. Face of the partner you have to draw without looking at the paper. So it's going to look like this. You're going to all be Picassos at the end of the session, right? Exactly. If you're not feeling uncomfortable, then the purpose is defeated. If you're feeling comfortable, please raise your hands. Right? So the idea is to it's okay. This is just a piece of paper. Look at the partner who shared the superpower. See her or his face. And without looking at it, draw on that paper. Yeah, you don't have to look into each other's eyes and all. I'm not asking you to do that. Just look at the face of the person and draw the portrait. And try and bring in something about her superpower or his superpower in, while you don't look at the portrait you're drawing. If it's sounding silly, ridiculous, that's the point of it. This is not a business case on a serious play. It is a point I'm going to try and make when you're done. Okay? How many of you done, if you can raise your hands? Okay? That's great. With a little pride, I can see some faces, smiling faces also. Yeah? I will deduct points to people like Tanya who's cheating. She's like, okay, how many of us done? You can't draw on your mobile devices, Gen Zs and Gen Alpha, I don't know whatever, man. Seriously, just take a pen and pencil and put it on paper. All right? Okay, are we done? Okay, now I want you to autograph that portrait and gift it with joy to your partner so that they can enjoy the creation. Have a quick discussion for 1 minute, help them understand whatever this is that you've drawn, right? And have a chat. Just have a human to human chat, right? Of specifically where that superpower lies in that portrait. How have you depicted her or his superpower in that portrait? And share it. It's okay. It's only a simple activity, right? And have a quick chat. I would suggest you to have a hearty chat and not some logical, I made these lines because your eyebrows are standing up. No. Have a chat, discuss. It'll be nice if you write your partner's superpower on it and don't forget to sign it. Okay, and we'll do that. I'll have a look at everybody's pictures. We'll take a picture of it. All right? Yeah, so doodle away. and we'll give you another maybe 5 to 10 seconds. Is that fine? So everybody's discussed and shared? Yes? Now please gift. I know the whole aspect of gifting is gone with e-gift cards and something. Come on, human to human. Diwali's round the corner. Treat it like a Diwali gift to the other person. Something you've drawn and her superpowers in it. Thank you so much. Yes? Please gift it to the other person, right? Okay. Let's now do a quick debrief. So feel free to take pictures. Feel free to take pictures. It'll be nice if all of you can just raise your cards up and show everyone. And if there's anyone here who can just take a picture when all the cards up. What? Only 7 drawings? Whatever happened to the others? It's okay if it looks like I don't even know what I've drawn, which is the whole purpose of this. Okay, great. Thank you so much. How did you feel when I asked you to draw this? What was your emotion? Your first kind of a reaction? Anybody? How did you feel when I asked you to draw your partner's portrait? Exciting? I guess for you, but for the other. So, okay. Anything else? You felt a little nervous? Okay. Now we are talking. Doubtful. Why are we so afraid to share our emotions? Because what I will think, I'm not going to even see your face tomorrow. But I want to.
But thinking, how are you going to draw somebody's face without looking at the face?
Yeah, without looking at it, so you felt discomfort. I've never done this before. Young, okay, I'm feeling young, which is my humble attempt in the past 10 years, but. Okay, and so anyone from the back, feelings, emotions? Afraid? So is it okay to say that you actually rediscovered your inner child and you felt vulnerable, you exercised your imagination, you actually empathized with your partner, right? Very simple empathy. You tried to imagine what the other person is feeling through their superpower and you depicted it on a face. I know you didn't see it scientifically, but you did it, right? You practice empathy. You practice agility. Right? And a lot of those 6 capabilities that we are asking from leaders today. So thank you so much, guys. I am done. This is all I had. And the only thing I wanted to leave for each one of you is that while we are in the age of artificial intelligence, let's not forget our own human self, our inner child, because the answers are within us. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Avinash. Please stay back for a token of thanks. Yeah. Can I please invite on stage Devika Sharma, MMA India board member and VP and GM of InMobi. Please give away the hamper and let's get a nice picture. Promoters, can we have the hampers, please? Sorry, there's a bit of a delay. Please come in the center. Come. That was such a fun session. I'm sure everybody agrees. Big round of applause, yes.
I think he wants us to hold it on.
We have a surprise now. We have free copies of his book, Avinash's book, Play to Transform, being distributed. Can I please request promoters to distribute the copies starting from the back, please? Thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Devika.